In a land where the sky kissed the earth with 1,000 colors, there was a magical kingdom called Spectra. This kingdom was nestled in the heart of a vast valley, where the sun always shone brightly, and rain showers often painted the sky with rainbows. The people of Spectra were joyful and kind, their hearts as vibrant as the colors that filled their skies. At the center of this wondrous land stood a magnificent palace made of sparkling crystal and precious gems. This was the home of King Prism and Queen Iris, who ruled with wisdom and love. Their greatest treasure was their daughter, Princess Angela, known far and wide as the Princess of Rainbow. Princess Angela had a special gift. From the day she was born, she had a unique connection with the rainbows. She could call them forth with a wave of her hand, and their colors would swirl around her, bringing happiness and wonder to all who saw them. Angela had hair that shimmered with all the hues of the rainbow, and her eyes sparkled with a light that seemed to come from the sky itself. Her laughter was like the tinkling of bells, and it brought joy to everyone who heard it. One day, as Angela was walking through the gardens of the palace, she noticed something strange. The colors of the rainbows were beginning to fade, and the sky looked dull and gray. Angela's heart sank. She gently touched a fading rainbow and asked, "Dear Rainbow, what troubles you?" The rainbow sighed and whispered, "Princess Angela, a dark sorceress named Tenebra has cast a spell upon us. She is envious of the joy and beauty we bring to Spectra, and wishes to see our colors vanish forever." Angela knew she had to act quickly to save the rainbows and her beloved kingdom. She decided to seek out Tenebra and ask her to lift the spell. With a brave heart, she set off on her journey, accompanied by her loyal friend, a colorful parrot named Pavo. They traveled through enchanted forests, crossed glittering rivers, and climbed misty mountains. Along the way, Angela's kindness and courage won her many friends. She helped a family of chameleons find their lost colors, shared her food with a lonely peacock, and sang to the flowers, making them bloom in even more vibrant hues. Finally, they reached Tenebra's dark and shadowy tower. Angela knocked on the heavy wooden door. With a loud creak, the door opened, and there stood Tenebra, her eyes cold and filled with envy. "Why have you come here, princess?" she sneered. "Do you not fear my power?" Angela took a deep breath and replied, "Sorceress Tenebra, I come not to fight but to seek your help. The rainbows in my kingdom are fading because of your spell. Please, lift the curse and let our colors shine once more." Tenebra was taken aback by her courage and sincerity. No one had ever approached her with such kindness. "Why should I help you?" she asked, curious. "Because," Angela said gently, "color and light bring joy and hope to the world. There is more happiness in creating beauty than in causing sorrow." Tenebra pondered her words. She had lived alone in her dark tower for many years, filled with bitterness. Angela's words touched something deep inside her, a longing for beauty and companionship she had forgotten. "Very well," Tenebra said slowly. "I will lift the spell, but on one condition. You must promise to visit me once a year and share the colors and stories of your kingdom with me." Angela smiled warmly. "I promise, Tenebra." With a wave of her hand, Tenebra lifted the dark spell from the rainbows. Instantly, the colors in Spectra sprang back to life. The rainbows arched across the sky, more vibrant and beautiful than ever before. Angela returned to her kingdom a hero. The people of Spectra rejoiced, and the rainbows filled the sky with their brilliant colors once more. True to her word, Angela visited Tenebra every year, bringing colors and stories to her once dark tower. Over time, Tenebra's heart softened, and she became a friend to the kingdom. And so, the Princess of Rainbow brought not only color to her land, but also taught everyone that even in the darkest of times, a little kindness and understanding can bring light and joy. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a lush green valley surrounded by rolling hills and sparkling rivers, there was a magical kingdom called Appleton. This kingdom was famous for its beautiful apple orchards that stretched as far as the eye could see. The trees bore the juiciest, most delicious apples in the world, and people traveled from far and wide to taste them. In the heart of this kingdom stood a magnificent castle made of white stone, where King Alaric and Queen Mirabelle lived. They ruled with kindness and wisdom, beloved by their subjects. The joy of their lives was their daughter, Princess Annabelle, who was known far and wide as the Princess of Apples. Princess Annabelle had a special gift. From the day she was born, she had a unique connection with the apple trees. She could speak to them, and they would listen. When Annabelle sang to the trees, they would grow taller and stronger, and their apples would become even more flavorful. She had long flowing hair the color of golden honey, and her eyes sparkled like emeralds. Her laughter was like the sweetest music, bringing happiness to everyone who heard it. One sunny morning, as Annabelle walked through the orchards, she noticed something strange. Some of the apple trees looked sad and droopy. Their leaves were wilting, and their apples were small and sour. Annabelle's heart sank. She gently touched one of the trees and asked, "Dear tree, what troubles you?" The tree sighed and whispered, "Princess Annabelle, a dark spell has been cast upon us by a wicked sorcerer named Maldrake. He is jealous of the joy and prosperity your apples bring and wants to see our kingdom fall into despair." Annabelle knew she had to do something to save the trees and her beloved kingdom. She decided to seek out Maldrake and ask him to lift the spell. With a brave heart, she set off on her journey, accompanied by her loyal friend, a wise old owl named Oliver. They traveled through dense forests, crossed sparkling streams, and climbed rocky mountains. Along the way, Annabelle's kindness and courage won her many friends. She helped a family of rabbits find their lost burrow, shared her food with a hungry fox, and sang to the flowers, making them bloom even brighter. Finally, they reached Maldrake's dark and gloomy castle. Annabelle knocked on the heavy wooden door. With a loud creak, the door opened, and there stood Maldrake, his eyes cold and unfriendly. "Why have you come here, princess?" he sneered. "Do you not fear my power?" Annabelle took a deep breath and replied, "Great sorcerer Maldrake, I come not to fight but to seek your help. The apple trees in my kingdom are suffering because of your spell. Please, lift the curse and let our land thrive once more." Maldrake was taken aback by her courage and sincerity. No one had ever approached him with such kindness. "Why should I help you?" he asked, curious. "Because," Annabelle said gently, "kindness and love can melt even the coldest of hearts. If you help us, you will see the beauty and happiness that our apples bring to the world. There is more joy in spreading goodness than in causing sorrow." Maldrake pondered her words. He had lived alone in his dark castle for many years, filled with bitterness. Annabelle's words touched something deep inside him, a longing for happiness and companionship he had forgotten. "Very well," Maldrake said slowly. "I will lift the curse, but on one condition. You must promise to visit me once a year and share the stories of your kingdom with me." Annabelle smiled warmly. "I promise, Maldrake." With a wave of his hand, Maldrake lifted the dark spell from the apple trees. Instantly, the trees in Appleton sprang back to life. Their leaves turned green, and their apples grew large and luscious once more. Annabelle returned to her kingdom a hero. The people of Appleton rejoiced, and the orchards flourished like never before. True to her word, Annabelle visited Maldrake every year, bringing stories and joy to his once lonely castle. Over time, Maldrake's heart softened, and he became a friend to the kingdom. And so, the Princess of Apples brought not only prosperity to her land, but also taught everyone that even the darkest of hearts can be brightened with a little kindness and love. And they all lived happily ever after. In a realm beyond the clouds, where the night sky shimmered with countless stars, there was a magical kingdom called Celestia. This kingdom floated high above the earth, hidden from mortal eyes, and was home to the star people, who tended to the stars and kept them bright and twinkling. At the heart of Celestia stood a grand palace made of silver and crystal, glowing with a soft, ethereal light. This was where King Orion and Queen Lyra ruled, their love for their people as vast as the sky itself. Their greatest joy was their daughter, Princess Estella, known far and wide as the Princess of Stars. Princess Estella had a special gift. From the day she was born, she had a unique connection with the stars. She could make them dance and shine brighter with just a wave of her hand. Her hair was like a cascade of silver, and her eyes sparkled like the stars themselves. Her presence brought warmth and light to all who met her. One night, as Estella gazed out from her balcony, she noticed something unusual. Some of the stars were dimming, their light flickering weakly. Concerned, she decided to visit the Grand Star Keeper, an ancient and wise star being named Astræus. "Grand Star Keeper," Estella called as she entered the star chamber. "Why are the stars losing their light?" Astræus looked grave. "Princess Estella, a shadow has fallen over the stars. It is the work of a dark sorcerer named Umbra. He seeks to plunge the world into eternal night and steal the stars' light for himself." Determined to save the stars and her kingdom, Estella resolved to confront Umbra. She set off on her journey, accompanied by her loyal friend, a bright and courageous star named Nova. They traveled through the shimmering starfields, crossed the celestial river, and climbed the towering nebula peaks. Along the way, Estella's kindness and bravery won her many allies. She helped a lost comet find its way home, shared her light with a fading constellation, and sang to the moonflowers, making them bloom even more beautifully. Finally, they reached Umbra's dark fortress, hidden in the deepest shadows of the universe. Estella knocked on the heavy iron door. With a loud creak, the door opened, and there stood Umbra, his eyes dark and piercing. "Why have you come here, princess?" he sneered. "Do you not fear the darkness?" Estella stood tall and replied, "Great sorcerer Umbra, I come not to fight, but to seek your understanding. The stars in my kingdom are dimming because of your shadow. Please, lift the darkness and let the stars shine once more." Umbra was taken aback by her courage and sincerity. No one had ever approached him with such compassion. "Why should I help you?" he asked, curious. "Because," Estella said gently, "light and darkness are both essential. They balance each other, and in harmony, they create the beauty of the universe. There is more strength in unity than in division." Umbra pondered her words. He had lived alone in his dark fortress for many years, filled with bitterness. Estella's words touched something deep inside him, a longing for balance and peace he had forgotten. "Very well," Umbra said slowly. "I will lift the shadow, but on one condition. You must promise to visit me once a year and share the light and stories of your kingdom with me." Estella smiled warmly. "I promise, Umbra." With a wave of his hand, Umbra lifted the shadow from the stars. Instantly, the stars in Celestia began to twinkle brightly once more, filling the night sky with their radiant light. Estella returned to her kingdom a hero. The star people rejoiced, and the stars shone brighter than ever before. True to her word, Estella visited Umbra every year, bringing light and stories to his once dark fortress. Over time, Umbra's heart softened, and he became a friend to the kingdom. And so, the Princess of Stars brought not only light to her realm, but also taught everyone that even in the deepest darkness, a little light and understanding can bring balance and harmony. And they all lived happily ever after.